Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Eye on the Community. I'm Sean Anthony, and here today we are talking about violence prevention and how you can help reduce violence in our community. Today I'm joined by two very special guests who have a lot to share with us. Miss Rena Shak, who is the Executive Director, Office of Violence Prevention, City of Columbus's Mayor's Office, and Miss India Duke, Public Information Officer, Office of Violence Prevention, City of Columbus Mayor's Office as well. And they are here to tell you more about the Office of Violence Prevention and the Safer Together 614 campaign. Now, their services and about their services and how each of us listening can do our part to help reduce violence in Columbus. Ladies, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Jinx.
It's my pleasure. It's an honor to have both of you here. So, Ms. Rena, let's start with you. I do know the Office of Violence Prevention was started by Mayor Ginther in 2023. What does the office do, and how do you engage with the community, the partners, as well as the individuals?
Sure. Thank you so much, Sean, for having us on. Thank you for the opportunity to talk about the office and the work that we do. So you're right. Mayor Ginther started this office in spring of 2023. And really, the creation of our office followed his declaration in February of 2022 of gun violence as a public health crisis for the city of Columbus. And so he tasked Columbus Public Health with trying to figure out a creative way of what that meant for our city and what we could do about it in order to try to make a dent in what was going on. And so they did months of research and underwent kind of an investigation period on what would be best for the city of Columbus. And that turned out to be a recommendation to create the Office of Violence Prevention. When we were created, we were one of about 20 across the country, and there are now over 100 offices of violence prevention across the country or similar offices. And really what these offices do is that we coordinate almost all violence reduction activities that the city runs and or funds. So that's my little tagline, right? Is that we are kind of the air traffic controllers, if you will, of all violence reduction activities that are really rooted in community. So when I talk about our office, I say that we're often the community public safety arm, because we're not law enforcement, but we work parallel with law enforcement. But everything we do is through a public health lens, and we're basing it off of data. So everything we do is either off of data as in numbers or data from stories that we get from the community. Our first year, we pretty much spent just on the ground talking with community members here in the city of Columbus, trying to figure out what gun violence meant for them and their families and their friends, and what they wanted us to do about it, what they wanted the city to do about it in a positive way to affect their lives. Because we always say that our work can't be for the city of Columbus if it's not of the city of Columbus, right? And so when we talk about data, when we talk about evidence-based strategies, that includes the numbers, but it also primarily includes what we're hearing from our community members and what's going to make a difference in their life. And so what that looks like right now for our office is that we went from a staff of 1 in 2023 to now a staff of 25. So we've grown a ton since we started. What we do is we have kind of a mix of policy, research, and data, which we know is super important to guide our work. But then we also have a huge community component of our work. And so the majority of our employees and our staff members and our awesome team work with the community every single day. We have an incredible community engagement coordinator team. They are out in the community, making relationships, tabling at events, talking about violence reduction work. We have a domestic violence and victim services coordinator. We have a violence prevention and education coordinator to talk about our Safer Together 614 campaign and about conflict de-escalation, engaging the youth. We do amazing communications and media relations through Miss India Duke over here. And then we have an entire intervention arm as well. So we house the Columbus Violence Reduction Strategy, which is just direct intervention with individuals who are recommended to us by either probation, parole, or the police department. as individuals that are the most likely to either become shooters or become victims of gun violence themselves because of the relationship and association that they have with violent activities or gangs in our city. And so we have an entire arm of team members just dedicated to helping those participants out in any way that they can to help them shift away from a violent life to a more productive life. So the work that we're doing really spans a lot, including in-house work, but then also managing relationships with partners. You know, we hold contracts for violence intervention work through Columbus Urban League, End the Violence, and Community for New Directions. So we're managing all of this large ecosystem of violence reduction work that's happening here in the city, while also running a lot of that work directly through our office.
That's amazing. Can you talk a little bit more about what that data is, and what are you guys doing with that data to reduce the violence as well?
Sure. So, like I said, we can't do anything without working off of data, right? Like we all have personal experiences that we bring to the table, but the beauty of taking a public health approach and being an Office of Violence Prevention is we're really the hub of that research and that policy making. Like when the mayor's office wants to do something related to firearms or gun violence, they're coming to us to say, hey, what's the data look like and where do we think we can move here? And that's also the same on the state and federal level, where we work with partners to create policy. So right now, for example, we know here in the city of Columbus, we have 67 to date homicides. So as of this morning, we have 67 homicides. This time last year, we had 103. So in 1 year, we have, along with our partners and law enforcement, decreased violence 34.9% in a year, which is huge.
That's amazing. That is good.
And that's an over 50% reduction from 2 years ago. And really, when you look at our numbers, we are at the lowest amount of homicides that we have been since before 2013.
Wow.
Now, I really want to be clear. So when we talk about data, you know, I want to make sure that the message is clear that that's 67 lives lost. So that's not necessarily something that we celebrate, right? We're not celebrating that we're at 67, but we are recognizing the amount of work that it took to go from 103 last year to 67 this year. We also know that 24 of the 67 are related to domestic disputes or domestic violence. 51 of the 67 are gunshot wound victims. So guns were involved in the vast majority of these homicides that we've seen so far this year. And that's a trend that normally at the end of the year, we're at about 90% or above for gunshots being the reason for the homicides. And then the biggest thing that, you know, is really the impetus for the Safer Together 614 campaign is that when we were looking at these numbers, so far this year, to date, we have 45 out of the 67 are resulting from an argument or dispute or a domestic dispute. So that's 45 lives lost because of our inability to resolve conflict in a way that does not result in violence and death.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't even include the numbers of gunshot victims that live, right? Or felonious assault victims that live. And so we know the numbers are much more, but that's really where this Safer Together 614 campaign was built out of, because when we're looking at the numbers also tell a story. And these numbers tell us that our community does not know how to resolve conflict.
Now let's talk about the campaign. Let's switch gears over to you, Miss India. Now, this campaign has been getting a lot of attention, especially from our audiences. We're getting calls and people wanting to know more about, you know, especially when they hear the commercials on our stations. India, give us the details about this campaign.
Hi, Sean. Well, first of all, I love that they're calling and trying to get more information about that. It makes me so happy.
Other than asking for boots on the ground 20 times from the aunties. I mean,
you got to get the aunties what they want.
Oh, they can get it.
But so the campaign is truly just an extension of the work that our office does, which in short, since Director Shak gave us such a beautiful just layout of what the office does every day, it is violence prevention work from a public health approach. So in short, just trying to make Columbus a safer city for everybody who lives, works, and plays here. Those visiting, anybody that comes through Columbus should not have to worry about the threat of violence. So Safer Together 614 is centered on awareness, which leads to action, and the reality that knowledge is power, right? So we believe that when people are equipped with the right tools, education, resources, they have the capacity to make better decisions. It goes back to that whole saying, like, if you knew better, you would do better type of thing. So when we give people ways to resolve conflict without resorting to violence, it helps build that culture of violence prevention. It helps people realize, hey, I don't have to go this route. There's something else that I could do to address this situation. And it doesn't have to cost me my future, and it doesn't have to cost someone their life. So the purpose of the campaign is just to promote that awareness and empowerment that there are other ways to handle like conflict resolution and de-escalation before something does get to that degree. And so like we did hear from our community during like our listening sessions and our community conversations, and they flat out told us that when they have access to resources and tools and knowledge and, things to help them make better decisions, they believe that it'll help make a safer community. And we believe that too. And so that's basically like the meat and potatoes of the campaign, but it encompasses a lot of different things. So this is kind of how we do that, right? So with our collaborative partnerships with the schools, youth centers, faith-based organizations, law enforcement from local to state level, CPD, the courts, Franklin County prosecutor, and our county commissioners, like you name it. We want to work with everybody who's committed to the work. And so we have a resource hub on our website, which is www.columbus.gov/violence prevention. There's a cute little button on the front on the landing page called the Safer Together 614. That is our resource hub, and that has toolkits, that has like de-escalation tactics and tips and resources. There's some videos on there. We even kind of talk about like red flags and green flags for like strategies for healthy dating practices too, because we did see in our data, as Director Shak mentioned, there's a portion of homicides that are related to domestic violence. And that number is, it's not good. Let's just say that it's not good. And it's something that we need to address. And we're looking at it and we're seeing that people are younger and younger being in these abusive, relationships. So those tools are up on our website as well. We have the shareable toolkit. So they're like PDF friendly, like downloadable. You can print them and share them. We have billboards across the city, as you said, radio. So we have like some things on the radio as well, just trying to spread that message. And so all in all, Safer Together 614 is a call to action to remind us that when we move forward together, one conversation, one decision, one act of courage at a time, that's when we will start to see real sustainable change in our city when we work as one.
Absolutely. Now, people probably listening, like, how can I get involved? How can I be a part of this? What avenue would you direct them?
I would send them straight to that website.
Like, don't call me.
Or you can always call our office. We are always happy to help. But yes, I think the bulk of the information that you can just kind of scroll through at your leisure is going to be on our website, and that's columbus.gov/violence prevention. As I mentioned before, like there's a bunch of downloadable PDFs of the toolkit. There's a tab that has like Safer Together 614 like on our landing page. So that'll take you straight there. I tried to make it as simple as possible to navigate, very user friendly. And of course, you can always call our office. We're here to help. We have social media. I run the social media. So even if you send us a DM, I will answer it, I promise. So that's kind of like those are the ways to kind of like get in touch with us. And then I'll kind of let Director Shak touch on this a little bit, but we do offer community conversations where we can kind of like bring the toolkit to you and give a presentation that way.
So that's where we engage, Sean, our community engagement coordinators, and that prevention and education coordinator. Her name's Siobhan Jones, and she has a master's in education degree. And so she is incredible at bringing this toolkit to the youth, whether you're 5 years old or you're 100 years old. We can adapt this material to you. So I don't want to give the impression that it's just youth. But we do see that the youth are the ones, like the numbers are getting younger and younger, whether it's homicides, gunshot victims, suspects, and domestic violence. So we know that our DV homicide numbers from last year, the average suspect and victim was 19 to 26.
Wow.
And so we want to make sure that we're engaging youth before they get to that age so that they know, like India said, what does a healthy relationship look like? How do I resolve conflict safely? Or how do I get myself out of a situation that looks like it's going to go bad before they become one of those numbers? And so we will come to you, whether it's a youth group, a faith group, a book club, a biker club, like I don't care what it is, we will come to you and talk to you about this if you want us to. You name it, we'll be there. We'll even throw on our bathing suits and we'll go swimming with you if it's like swimming aerobics class.
Hey,
Let's do it, right?
I want the invite. I got some trunks.
I'm not going roller skating and blading because it's been a while because I can't talk to you and fall all over the place. But we have a team that will be more than happy to bring the information to you. We were at Columbus City School football games this year, and it was incredible engaging the youth at those. India just put up an amazing video on social media. So
nice.
Community is what we're about, and we just want to be there for the community. So please don't hesitate to ask. Hit up India on social media. Go to the website. Call us 614-645-9583.
Excellent. Thank you so much, ladies. This was great information. Any closing thoughts before I wrap up?
My closing thoughts would just be that it's going to take all of us. And I think the community knows that because that's all I keep hearing from the community. That's all our team keeps hearing from the community. We are here to be the bridge between the government and resources for the community, bridge between, information and the community. So however we can assist, the ask is not too crazy. Believe me, we've gotten some crazy asks and we will figure out a way to help you in whatever scenario it is, because we realize that safety looks different to everybody, right? And everybody's at a different starting point when it comes to understanding what it takes to reduce violence in our community. But we can't just do it as a government. We need everybody. And so that's what Safer Together 614 is about, because we truly are safer together. And we truly believe that equipping the community with the knowledge on how to get ourselves out of these situations is going to help us see these numbers continue to go down.
Absolutely. Miss India?
I would just want to say two things that I replay in my mind all the time when I'm thinking of the work that we do. It's so hard to put it into just like a little brief sentence. But if I could, I would just say that violence prevention is a community's responsibility. We can't fully rely on police. Like our mayor says it all the time, like we can't police our way out of, certain situations. And honestly, it is going to take all of us. And like Director Shak said, we are truly safer together when we work together. And resource provision is violence prevention. So us being able to stand in the gap between residents and resources, we're already one step closer.
Yeah. Well, listen, I appreciate it. I tell people all the time, Columbus, Ohio has so many amazing resources for the people of Columbus. People just got to get aware of it, like by listening to this program and taking advantage of it. But that sums it up for me, ladies. Again, it's been an informative conversation today. Thank you, Miss Rena and Miss India, for being here. And most importantly, for the work that you are doing to reduce violence in our city. So thank you for all you and your team is doing. I want to encourage those out there listening right now to visit the Office of Violence Prevention's website and download those tools and resources that was mentioned. You can do so at columbus.gov/violence prevention. And you can call the office as well at 614-645-9583. I'm Sean Anthony. And remember, together, we can make a safer together 614. Take care.